Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum, dear students. As promised in my previous video, I am here to share with you the tips to improve your descriptive essay. Those students who have decided not to avail the choice of attempting descriptive essay in the exams, please listen to the video and afterwards you decide whether you should go for narrative or descriptive. The purpose is not to motivate you to change your mind, but the purpose is to learn a little bit the essence of descriptive essay, because this purpose of learning at least some essence of descriptive essay will improve your narrative essay in many regards. So, coming to the definition or the type of descriptive essay, that what is descriptive writing? Basically, what you can understand descriptive essay by the example of painting a picture. When you are painting a picture, do you speak? No, you don't speak. Rather, you paint a picture with the help of variety of colors. You do shading, you use different shapes in order to create beautiful image. You can have this rehearsal and practice, that one of your friend makes a picture and he is not allowed to speak during that painting, but when he will show that painting to you, you have to guess that what this picture is about. If you were able to guess accurately what the picture was about, it means that the friend had made an accurate picture. He was able to create correct images in your minds, whether the images are visual or auditory or any other type of images. So this is the essence of descriptive essay, that here you don't speak, but your words speak. You don't tell, but you show. And how do you show? By creating images, by creating pictures of different images. This is the essence of descriptive essay. Moving forward, what can you be asked to describe? You can be asked to describe a person or a place or a thing. Now, this is something that you have been doing even in your junior grades since a long time. You were asked to write about your teacher, for example. You were asked to tell or to describe your father as a favorite personality, and you have been doing this thing. Then why you are skipping this thing in your Cambridge exams? Okay, the three things you should be able to describe: the person, place, or thing. Now, be as imaginative in your description as possible. There are some students who learn similes and metaphors as they have been given on different sites. It's not necessary to use learned similes and metaphors. You can compare things, you can contrast things according to your own imagination. It is not necessary to compare a child with a flower only. You can compare a child with any other beautiful thing that comes to your mind. That will enhance your image more beautifully and more perfectly. You can also use colors. Now you see, there are some students who say that they don't have good vocabulary, then that is why they are not attempting descriptive essay. But at least you know the different colors, you know the shapes of different things. You don't have to say, you don't have to imagine that everyone knows that the color of the leaves is green, but you have to show, because you are describing and you are not allowed to speak. That is why you will write green colored leaves. And it's not necessary that the leaves are all the time green. If it is autumn season, they can be brown, they can be rusty brown, they can be a combination of yellow and orange. Now, when I am using colors of my choice, it means that I am using my imagination. Similar is the thing that you have to achieve. Then you can even use contrast. Sometimes you are not able to understand how fat or how bad a person is until and unless you are given a contrast of his. So contrast and comparisons make things accurate. And interesting words to paint verbal picture. Interesting words means right word at the right place. Here it can be an adjective in the form of describing feelings. And you must remember that you are basically painting a verbal picture. This is the definition of descriptive essay, that you are painting a verbal picture. As suggested in my previous video by the Cambridge examiners, that what are the writing assessment objectives. So same writing assessment objectives are applied even in descriptive essay. Even here you have to use appropriate vocabulary. Even here your sentence structure should be varied. There should be variety. There should be variety of long and short sentences. And the best thing that you can use in order to vary your sentence structure will be to start your sentence with adjective or to start your sentence with adverb. It's not necessary that you always start with a pronoun. It is, or with a pronoun. I saw this. This is something that is completely to be avoided in descriptive essay. You can start dark green colored leaves of the tree. This is how you have started your sentence with adjective. In the same way, you can start your sentence with adverb. This is how you can vary your sentence structure. Your spellings must be accurate. Your punctuation and vocabulary choices should be appropriate to the task. Word length requirements are the same as in the narrative essay. And the duration is also 60 minutes. So, well, you have to plan and write accordingly because enough time has been allocated to you to attempt even this type of essay. Now, what are the requisites? What are the steps to achieve success in writing descriptive essay? So, examiner says that successful descriptive writing is about more than just the language you use. There are some teachers as well as students who just give handouts to the students and they advise them to learn this vocabulary by just pouring vocabulary onto the page. If images are not being created, if feelings are not being aroused, it means that you are not being able to produce a successful descriptive essay. Then what are you supposed to do? Ideas and feelings. They are to be created as a key part of descriptive writing, meaning that you make the other person feel relaxed. You make the other person feel angry. You make the other person feel motivated or any other feeling. Places are often associated with particular feelings. For example, the topics which you get in Cambridge exams, if you look at some of the past papers, because for this question you can have a glance at the past papers of 1, 1, 2, 3, because this question is the same as it was in the previous pattern. There has not been any change. So please consult the past papers for rehearsal and practice of narrative essay as well as descriptive essay. So here places are associated with particular feelings. For example, if you are asked to describe the home where you used to live as a child, or describe the school where you used to study when you were a small toddler, you were a toddler. So you have to relate that place with the feelings. Only vocabulary about the place will not be attractive. You have to arouse particular feelings which will be related to that place. Always bring your planning, the overall effect you want to have on your reader. The overall effect means, do you want your readers to feel sad after reading your attempt? Do you want your readers to go into the nostalgic mood that they also start thinking of their childhood school? This is the thing that you as a writer have to decide. Ask yourself whether you want your audience to feel a sense of amazement, whether they should be surprised by your attempt, sense of beauty, they really appreciate what you have written, or a sense of fear, they might be frightened that you have described the images in such a beautiful way, but in such a horrendous way that they are feeling a sense of fear. They can even feel a sense of peace as if they are in their own home. They have been sent into that state of mind after reading your essay. Now, many students don't attempt descriptive essay because they say that they can't reach up to the limit of 450 words. They can write starting, they can write one or two paragraphs, but they can't write up till 450 words. So what are they supposed to do? They are supposed to plan their description. And luckily, the topics that the Cambridge examiner gives you, they have mostly two sides. Sometimes they ask you to describe the scene before school break, or sometimes the scene after the break. Now you see, these are two contrasting scenes: the scene before the school break commences and the scene when the school breaks finishes. So you have ample space to describe the two contrasting feelings. You can easily attempt 450 words if you would have thought about your topic carefully and you would have planned it before writing. So what are the aspects that you need to plan before writing? You can't plan everything, but you would work out the overall structure of your writing. For example, the topic which I have mentioned, in such kind of topic, easily you can write 4 to 5 paragraphs, and then you can easily complete the word length requirement as well. How you have to decide how you will start, and any important moments that you want to particularly highlight, that for example during the break, which moments appeal to you, which moments are a source of disturbance for you. You can mention those events, and this is how your word length requirement will be fulfilled. And also mention the ending, not like the ending of narrative, but like a scene which is going to be described. Over here, you have to describe pictures and scenes in order to convey your ideas. Consider how the shape of your writing will contribute to the overall feeling you want to establish. It means that the shape of your writing will contribute, it will have an addition, it will have a participation to the overall feeling you want to establish. Do you want to create a mood of happiness in the beginning, or a mood of noisy mood, a mood of disturbance, a mood of restlessness, and afterward the mood of solace, peace, comfort, relaxation? When you will think about these aspects, you will be able to complete the word length requirements. Now let's compare and contrast narrative and descriptive essay. That basically, what is the difference? Whereas in narrative writing features, mainly the things that occur are the events. Events occur in narrative essay because over there plot is dominant. But in narrative essay, as we say that plot is dominant. In contrast, descriptive essay is often still. You feel as if it is still. But if you join all the images and pictures you have described, then they will seem like a movie. As if, for example, you are describing the scene of a wedding. You will not start telling that people that this was happening, this was the, you will describe different scenes, that what was the scene at the start of the wedding, then how the people moved towards taking dinner or lunch, then how the farewell scene started when the bridegroom was bidding farewell to her parents. So such scenes are described. They, it seems to be still, but actually it is not still, because they over there the pictures, if combined, they will also seem to be moving like in, like the scenes are moving in a movie. The focus in in descriptive writing is on things that can be seen and heard, because the dominant thing in descriptive writing is your images. Now you see that every human being has the ability to judge different images. Everyone can see, everyone can hear, everyone can smell, everyone can feel the pain, everyone can taste certain things. Now, the dominant, as many feelings as you can describe, the most obvious and common ones are those two which I have described: seeing and hearing. Oh, so, unlike narrative, where events dominate, in descriptive writing, images dominate, images of sight, images of hearing. However, it is important that something happens. It means that even in descriptive essay, 20%, 15 to 20% of narration can be mentioned. Otherwise, neither you will be able to give a structure to your descriptive essay, nor you will be able to complete your descriptive essay. So don't forget this, that 20% of narrative can be written in the descriptive essay as well. So think about the structure of your writing and shape it carefully to ensure it is interesting. Repetition and contrast are useful structural devices. For example, repetition of a certain image, repetition of a certain sound, repetition of a certain sight, and always make things clear by making contrasts. Repeating keywords or ideas can help to give descriptive writing a sense of structure. When you are describing, you can repeat certain keywords or certain key ideas. I will be sharing a sample also at the end so you can have more understanding of this point. Adding a rhythm to the prose, as if the things are moving rhythmically with a certain pattern. They are not awkward, they are not haphazard, they are moving rhythmically. Now you see that in descriptive essays, there are certain figures of speech which you have to use in order to clarify your point of view more accurately. Figures of speech means they are the tools that enhance language. You are already familiar with a few of them, and there are not too many that you have to use. At least four I have discussed with you. I will be discussing with you four, and at least two you must use. And if you use three to four, then that will be excellent. Now let's look at those figures of speech. The first one is simile. You all are familiar with that. Simile is used to compare things. And when we are comparing things, we use the word as or like. And the example for this has been written on the screen as well. The lake, like glass, comma, mirrored the purple and gold of the sky. Now you see, the lake was reflecting the two colors of the sky, and in between, the writer has compared the lake with glass, which also shines, which also reflects like a mirror. So, this is a beautiful simile. Now, the second figure of speech is metaphor. Metaphor, in simple words, you can say, is a bold comparison. Bold comparison means that it does not take help of words like as or like. It directly says that it is as good as that other thing without using the word as. Now, for example, you can have a glance at the example. The sky was a masterpiece. The sky was a masterpiece. It did not say that the sky was as beautiful as a piece of masterpiece. It has not used the word as or like. It has boldly compared, the writer has boldly compared the sky with a piece of art. This is called metaphor. For example, you can say he is his elephantine personality. Now it is also a metaphor because it means that he had a humongous personality. He was very huge person. So this is also metaphor. Then the third figure of speech is personification. Personification means when you give the role of non-living to living things or vice versa. For example, the example says the dark forest kept its secrets for now. Now you see, the forests are not human beings that they will keep secrets. Forests are not as such having feelings that they can hide things from us. But here, in the style of figure of speech, in the style of personification, the dark forests have been compared to human beings in the sense that they were now keeping their secrets. And the fourth figure of speech which you can use in your descriptive essay will be alliteration. Alliteration means the repetition of starting letter of a few words or phrases especially. For example, as you can see, towering tall trees. All the three words are starting with T. The easy way to work this out is that you take a simple noun. For example, trees is a noun, and tall trees you always write. You say green trees. Instead of saying green trees, you can say tall trees, or brown trees, you can say tall trees. Why did you choose this word? Because it has alliteration. And to further enhance that, you can make two adjectives. You can use two adjectives before a noun, and this will turn out to be a beautiful combination. And it will also be alliterated if you will start it with the same letter. For example, towering tall. It means they were very tall. Never use the word very tall or very big or very sad, because this is, you can say, very childish and it creates a negative impression. Instead of saying very, you tell how tall they were by using an appropriate adjective or appropriate adverb. Personification, we have another example that the world was waking from its sleep. Now, the world is not a human being that it falls to sleep and then it wakes up. This is also an example of personification. Now, if you are familiar with these 4 to 5 figures of speech, you will be very relaxed in your comprehension paper, because over there the examiner is going to ask from you that in the question of meaning and effect, the examiner is going to ask that which figure of speech the writer has used, or how the writer is using language effectively to communicate his ideas. So writer uses these techniques. Even if you don't attempt a descriptive essay in your exam, you should be familiar with these things. Otherwise, the disadvantage will be that you, God forbid, you will not be able to score well even in the meaning and effect question. So please go through these points very accurately and very carefully. Now the question starts at how to develop descriptions. There are different ways to develop your descriptions. Developing description. One method is to move from exterior to interior. For example, if you have to describe the building of your school, you will not start from inner descriptions. You will start from the outer wall, from the gate, from the boundary wall. Then, how did you enter? What about the courtyard? What about the playground? Gradually, you will move inside, step by step, picture after picture. So, the tip is to move from exterior to interior, because obviously first the depth should come towards the end. If you started from the interior and then you move towards the exterior, that will not be creating a very positive impression. First, describe the outside of the hotel to inside and then focus on smaller details. This is an example, school example also I have given. Point of view means type of narrative. There are some students who have this confusion that whether descriptive essay should be attempted in the first person or third person. So the answer to this is that here you have to be omniscient. Omniscient means that you should be able to see everything, where the narrator can explain any part of the action in any location, as if you are at a heighted position, and while sitting in helicopter, you can see everything on the ground, even the minute details, and from every angle, not only from the front angle or from the back side. No, you have to be observant and you have to be omniscient. You have to see every side from every angle. So that will turn out to be the best descriptive paragraph. An example has been given. For example, this example will clarify the difference between narrative and descriptive. The same information has been given in the narrative style and the same information has been given in the descriptive style. For example, the first example I am reading, and you can guess whether it is narrative or whether it is descriptive. The example says a guest carrying a large case arrived at the hotel and rang the bell. In the office, the manager sighed. Now you see, is it telling or is it showing? This information is showing. We do not have to ask that what was the guest carrying and where did he arrive and what did he do. The information is given there in the form of a picture that he was carrying a bag, he was arriving at the hotel, he rang the bell, and the a manager, it was not written that manager was in an angry mood or a sad mood or a mood of irritation, but it has been mentioned through his body language that he was sighing. It means that he was not in a good mood. Here, the reader can see what is happening with the guest and also knows what is taking place in the manager's office. Same information in the first person can be written as you would do in the narrative essay. Over there, you will say, I rang the bell and waited for the manager. He finally arrived looking irritated. Now, you see, it's very beautiful example. You can compare and contrast even if you don't attempt descriptive essay in the exam, but these things should be clear, because in the comprehension passage, and even as students of language, you should be able to differentiate between first person narration and third person narration, and how you can be omniscient. The two possible ways to start. Number one, it had been so long since he had last been here. He looked up at the old building and smiled. Now you see the description of the building is to be started, and before that, how the writer has created a scene. And the second way is, I felt a strange sensation as I walked up that old path. Many students say that I is to be avoided in the descriptive essay. It depends upon the topic. If you have been asked to describe your feelings, how can you hide yourself? You will write I, but you will avoid its excessive usage. You can even put I at a hidden position. You can even start a few sentences with I. Using I is not forbidden, but its excessive usage is forbidden. Like in the second example, I felt a strange sensation as I walked up that old path. There it was, the old building. I remembered so well. Now you see the same information written in two ways. This will also be really useful for you if you will look at it very carefully. The different ways to start a descriptive essay. Several ways. Number one, you can focus on a specific place. Now you see, you have to imagine as if there is a camera in your hand and you are taking pictures of certain scenes. Sometimes you will focus on a specific place. Sometimes you will focus on describing weather. Sometimes you can focus on the scenery. Sometimes you can describe the images of touch, that how did you feel when you touched that thing. And sometimes you will focus on describing your feelings. So any of these ways you can use to express your descriptive essay. The steps that you have to take before planning a descriptive. Ask yourself some questions before planning a descriptive task. What is the most interesting part of the scene? That when you will describe the scene of your school or a revisit to your old school, which part of the scene will you highlight the most? What feelings are suggested by the scene? Positive, negative, or amazing or frightening? What feelings? Whether you will attempt your descriptive essay in the first person or third person. What will be the narrator's feelings? Are there other people in the description? Or what's their relationship to the narrator? There can be more than one person. What single event could happen to change the event? And how could you move through the scene? How will things develop? These are the questions that you have to ask from yourself before starting the descriptive essay. If you can't memorize all, at least ponder upon 2 to 3 questions. Now let's have a recap. I know it is a dry topic and you might have felt bored. You might have stopped watching the video, but you can watch it in two halves. And number one thing is that descriptive essay is necessary to learn because it will enhance your narrative. At least 20% of the description should be written in the narrative essay. You can use similes in the narrative essay. You can use metaphor in narrative essay. If you will know about their usage, only then you will use them. Second thing is, don't tell, show. Don't say my father was very angry. You have to say with a wrinkled forehead, my father opened the door. You got to know that he was angry. This is how you have to differentiate between telling and showing. Use effective vocabulary with combinations of nouns and adjectives, verbs and adverbs. Don't say tree. Mention the length of the tree, mention the color of the tree, mention the shape of the tree. In the same way, don't say I walked slowly walking towards the courtyard. Why were you walking slowly? This indicates your mood. Write in third person and preferably present tense, preferably in the descriptive essay. Although it depends upon the topic, but here preferably present tense will be used. Then you have to move from outside to inside. While describing a person or a place, first to describe the exterior of the person and then the inner qualities. Same is the case with place, same is the case with thing. There are 3 types of images at least that you should be able to use. Visual and auditory are compulsory, and even olfactory you can use. Olfactory means that which smells, for example, if you are describing the scene at your school canteen or in your kitchen, or the time when you were going to take dinner at a wedding. How can you avoid olfactory images? Figurative languages should be well versed. Otherwise, it will be difficult for you to score good even in narrative essay and even in the comprehension passage. So this is all, my dear students, with regard to the descriptive essay. Please listen to all these this information very carefully. Best of luck for your exam. Heartiest prayers. Allah Hafiz.